Welcome back to the war. Today we take a look at the Battle of Dak To. The Battle of Dak To was a significant engagement during the Vietnam War, taking place from November 3rd to November 23rd, 1967. It involved the U.S. Army, particularly the 173rd Airborne Brigade, and elements of the 4th Infantry Division, against the North Vietnamese Army. The battle occurred in the central highlands of Vietnam, near the border with Laos and Cambodia, an area of strategic importance due to its proximity to the Ho Chi Minh Trail, a vital supply route for the NVA. Join us at Legacy of War as we take a deeper look. Background and strategic importance. The Central Highlands, and specifically the area around Dak To, were crucial for controlling the supply routes and movements of both sides. The NVA aimed to draw American forces away from urban areas and to wear them down in prolonged engagements. For the U.S., maintaining control of this region was essential to prevent the NVA from establishing a stronghold and to disrupt their supply lines. Pre-battle movements and intelligence before the battle. In June, Operation Greeley took place, which was a combined search and destroy effort by elements of the U.S. 4th Infantry Division and 173rd Airborne Brigade, along with the RVN. Although labeled a success, it resulted in heavy casualties, but the NVA did seemingly withdraw from the area. Shortly after, U.S. intelligence reported increased NVA activity in the Dak To area. The NVA's 1st Division, including the 24th, 32nd, and 66th Regiments, were observed moving into the region. These units were battle-hardened and well-prepared for the difficult terrain. The U.S. decided to engage these forces to prevent them from threatening nearby towns and disrupting American operations. Initial engagements. The battle began with a series of skirmishes and smaller engagements as U.S. forces sought to locate and engage the NVA units. Early encounters indicated that the NVA were well entrenched and prepared for a major confrontation. Major battles. Hill 823 and Hill 875. The fighting intensified on November 6th when elements of the 4th Infantry Division encountered NVA forces on Hill 823. The dense jungle and rugged terrain made combat operations extremely challenging. Both sides suffered significant casualties in the brutal close-quarters fighting. The most significant and infamous battle occurred on Hill 875. From November 19th to 23, U.S. forces, primarily the 173rd Airborne Brigade, attempted to capture this strategically important position. The NVA had heavily fortified the hill, creating a network of bunkers and tunnels. Day 1, November 19th. As the 2nd Battalion approached Hill 875, they faced a sudden and intense barrage of enemy fire. The NVA used a combination of machine guns, mortars, and rocket-propelled grenades. U.S. forces suffered heavy casualties in the initial engagement. Day 2-3, November 20th, 21. Reinforcements from the 4th Battalion, 503rd Infantry Regiment were brought in. Fighting continued to be fierce with close-quarters combat and frequent NVA counterattacks. Airstrikes and artillery support were called in to suppress the NVA defenses, but dense jungle cover limited their effectiveness. Day 4, November 22nd. On November 22nd, a misdirected U.S. airstrike hit the 2nd Battalion's position, causing numerous casualties from friendly fire. Despite this setback, U.S. forces regrouped and continued their push. Final assault, November 23rd. The final assault on Hill 875 began on the morning of November 23rd. U.S. troops, utilizing combined arms support, including artillery and close air support, finally overran the NVA positions. By midday, Hill 875 was secured, but the cost had been high. Conditions and challenges. The terrain and weather conditions severely hampered U.S. operations. The thick jungle made movement difficult and restricted visibility, while the steep slopes favored the defenders. Additionally, the onset of the monsoon season turned the battlefield into a quagmire, complicating logistics and medical evacuation efforts. Tactics and equipment. U.S. forces relied heavily on air support, including bombers and helicopter gunships, to dislodge the entrenched NVA. Artillery fire was also used extensively to try to break the enemy's defensive positions. However, the NVA's use of well-camouflaged bunkers and tunnels mitigated some of the effectiveness of these tactics. Before we continue, 97% of viewers are not subscribed to the channel. Your mission is to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Join the ranks of our elite unit and never miss a tactical update. Engage now, soldier. Casualties and aftermath. The battle resulted in heavy casualties on both sides. U.S. forces suffered over 1,600 casualties, including 361 killed. The NVA's losses were also significant, although exact numbers are harder to determine. The intense and costly fighting on Hill 875 particularly highlighted the brutal nature of the conflict. Despite eventually capturing Hill 875, the U.S. forces did not achieve a decisive victory. The NVA withdrew in good order, having inflicted considerable losses in delaying American operations. The battle demonstrated the challenges of fighting in the difficult terrain of Vietnam and the resilience of the NVA forces. Strategic impact. The Battle of Dak To was part of a broader NVA strategy to engage U.S. forces in the Central Highlands and to divert attention from other regions. While the U.S. managed to prevent the NVA from holding key positions, the high casualties and the ferocity of the fighting had a demoralizing effect on American troops and highlighted the difficulties of the war. Legacy. The battle is remembered for the extraordinary courage and resilience of the soldiers involved. The 173rd Airborne Brigade, in particular, received recognition for their bravery under extremely challenging conditions. The engagement at Dak To also underscored the complexities of the Vietnam War and the high human cost of the conflict. In summary, the Battle of Dak To was a pivotal and grueling encounter during the Vietnam War, exemplifying the intensity of the fighting in the Central Highlands. The engagement highlighted the challenges faced by U.S. forces in Vietnam, the strategic importance of the region, and the resilience of both American and North Vietnamese troops.